Hello, delightful makers. In this tutorial, I'm going to show you how to make a fun little banner for spring. And the first thing you're going to need are the templates. And the templates can be found in the description below. Just go there and then you have to sign up for my newsletter to get them. And that will get you this page with the templates. Now, you don't have to use the templates. You can use your own letters that you want to use. That is perfectly okay, but these are available for you if you want them. A fun fact is that my little chicken is actually from a Easter cookie cutter. So if you have an Easter cookie cutters, that could give you some fun shapes that you can use in this banner. Now I have some of my favorite plaid left over from the Enchanted Spring line. This was what I used for my coneflower basket table runner, and I have just a little bit left over, and that is what I'm going to use to be my letters. And then this is also from the same fabric line. I'm going to use this to be my little chicken. The first step will be to print out your template or to find letters that you're going to trace. These letters are 4 inches tall, and mine is a little hard to see it printed in blue. I apologize for that, but my printer has run out of ink and I didn't want to wait to show you this tutorial. So I'm going to start with the letter S. I have fused my fabric to Steam-A-Seam 2, and the Steam-A-Seam 2 is going to be repositionable and permanent because I am just going to be able to stick this onto my felt background, and I'm not going to have to stitch around the edges. You can use whatever fusible you prefer, and if you want to stitch around the edges of your banner, you can. But I'm showing you the quickest and easiest way to make this. And to do that, you need Steam-A-Seam 2. Now for the template, your letters are facing right side up, which is a little different and unusual for a fusible template. Usually they are reversed because of the way you trace, but we're going to trace these collage style. And I'm going to show you what that means. I'm going to start with the S, and I'm going to peel my paper and my fabric apart, and you can see how Steam-A-Seam 2 stays sticky. And I'm going to place the paper over my template, and I'm going to trace. Once I have traced that one, then I will continue tracing the rest of my letters in the pink. I want to keep the fabric and the paper attached, so I'm not peeling the fabric all the way off. I'm peeling it just enough to get to what I need, and I will keep that attached. All right. So I will continue tracing my letters, and when I'm finished tracing, I have more strips that I will be using. When I'm finished tracing, I am going to close this back up, and then I'm going to press it back closed. So it is now pressed and closed, so you can see it's not flopping around. And the next step, once I have done this with all of my letters, will be to cut them out. All right, so I have cut out all of my little letters. They might be a little hard to see against this light background, but there are my letters. So my little chick is facing this way. So I actually want one facing to the left, and I'm going to want one facing to the right. So let me show you how I'm going to do that, even though your template only gives you one. So I will peel this apart, and I will trace the chicken this way. So this is the one that will be facing to the left. And then I'm actually going to flip it over, and I'm going to trace the chicken on the back of the paper. And what will happen is then when I cut this out, he will be reversed. All right, so I've traced both of those, and now I will iron this closed and cut them out. All right, so you can see my two little chickens, and you can see this one is the one I traced on the inside, so he is facing to the left, and this is the one I traced on the outside, and so it's facing right. So I have my chickens and I have my letters, and now it's time to put my banner together. The next step will be to put the letters and chicks onto the felt. This is 100% wool felt. It is from the Felt Pod, and I have cut it into a 5" by 4" rectangle. And using felt that is 100% wool or even 80% wool allows me to add heat and to steam, because the steam will become permanent only once you've added steam. And if I was using a synthetic felt, it might melt under the heat and the steam. So that is why I recommend getting a felt that is 80% wool or more and does not have 100% synthetic fibers. So for this step, all we have to do is we will start with our S, and we are going to just peel the paper off. And you can see how it's still sticky there. And we are just going to center it and stick it on the felt. We will do this with all of our letters and our chicks, and then we will steam them, and that is what will make the letters and the chicks permanently adhered to our felt. All my letters and chicks are pressed onto my felt, and now I want to round the corners because this is just a little bit boring. So I'm actually going to turn this to the back, and I have this is what I'm using. You can find whatever you have in your craft room to use, but this is my circle. So you basically want something that's round, and you're going to place it on the edges, and then I have my marking pen, and I'm just going to mark that little curve, and I will do that on this side also. And then I will just take my scissors and I will cut along that curve, and that is how I'm going to create like a little curved edge for my banner. So I'm going to do that for all of my pieces, and then I will show you how we'll put them together. I have finished cutting my little banner corners off, so you can see they're a little prettier now. And this is where you have a few different choices that you can make. So it doesn't all completely fit inside my camera, so that's what you can see, that part of it. So I have this length of the green plaid from the Enchanted Spring line, and I'm going to turn this into a double fold tape. I'll show you how to do that, and I'm going to put that up here, and that's what I'm going to use as my string to hold my letters together to make my banner. You can use whatever you have. You can use a ribbon, you could use some rickrack, you can just use a string, you can cut some little slits and actually string it, or you can get a needle and thread and string them together. So you have a lot of different options based on what you have. But because I have literally just this strip left of this greenish plaid that I really love, I'm going to use that at the top. So my fabric is about 42 inches long. It's the whole width of fabric because there's the 2 selvages on the end, and it's 1 3/4 wide. You can do 2 inches. You'll see how small of a strip 1 3/4 gives you, and you can work from there. But I wouldn't go smaller than 1 3/4. We're going to fold it in half first and press that. So I have folded my strip in half. The next step will be to open it back up, and now I'm going to fold in towards the center on both sides, and then I will press that. Now, once we have pressed the center and now we've pressed these 2 pieces in, we're going to go ahead and close this up so it looks like this. So we're going to press that one more time to get it to close and be nice and tight. Okay, so here is my strip. It has been folded in and then closed. Then I'm going to lay it out and place my felt pieces inside. So I will line up the edges here and then overlap like this. Now you have a couple of options. Again, you can sew it, just do a quick top stitch, and you're going to sew it all the way down and keep adding all of your little pieces. Or you can just glue it. So you have options here. If you're wanting this to be completely no sew, then you don't have to sew this closed. You could just glue these closed and then you are good to go. I'm going to sew mine because it's really just a very simple straight stitch. I will top stitch about 1/8 of an inch from the edge, and then it will be done. I also want to demonstrate really quickly how to center it, because if you just have your 42-inch long strip, you want to make sure you end up with an equal amount on each side for tying or hanging. So I just folded it in half. So that is my fold. And R and I split the center because you have 8 total pieces, and this is number 4 and this is number 5. So that fold will go right here in between, and then they will go together like this. So I will make sure I have these in place, and I am putting mine right next to each other because when they are hung, they will kind of do this a little bit. And then I will add the rest of the letters on each side with the chicks. So fold to find your center, and then your center is going to be right between your R and your I. If you have a little bit of space, just make sure that space is equal from that center. All right, so I have finished the banner, and you can see my little stitching here, and this is what it looks like on the back. So when it is all laid out, if I go to curve it, you see how my little pieces separate just a little bit. Now, some things you can do if you want to make it just a little bit fancier, you can tie some extra little ribbons in between if you want. You can add with your steam-a-seam, like I have some of these little pink and white flowers, I could cut those out and kind of add them to my banner in different spots. I also want to show at the end, so I did sew all the way down, and I even left the selvage there. That'll keep it from fraying on the end. This is the banner. I am going to cut out a few of these little flowers and put them on here, and then I will hang it up on my mantle so you can see what it looks like hung up. All right, so here is the spring banner on the mantle, and that is how you will make it. So I hope this has inspired you to make something beautiful.